Hi guys, I'm Esty and today I'm going to show you how to decorate a bundt cake. Now a bundt cake is probably the easiest cake you can make, but just because it's so easy to make doesn't mean it can't be a showstopper as long as you glaze it properly, and I'll show you how it's done. Now, I'm sure you've tried to glaze before, and in the bowl it was nice and white and opaque, but once you let it set on the cake, it kind of got sheer and it dripped all the way down and it seeped into the cake. So I'm going to show you how to keep and maintain a white glaze throughout. I also didn't know how to make that glaze maintain its white, opaque, pretty look on the cake, and I actually learned a while back from Rifki Nachmani, and I'm going to teach you guys right now. We start with about 2 cups of confectioner sugar, and I say about 2 because we have to play with the consistency. So we're going to add a little bit more liquid or a little bit more sugar and play around with it until we have the right kind of thick opaque glaze. So we add a tablespoon of oil and a splash of vanilla. And you can use any extract you want, you can use any of the flavors you want. You can add some fresh orange zest in here or lemon zest, depends on what flavor cake you're glazing. We just have a honey one here, so I'm gonna do kind of a plain one. And we add a few tablespoons of boiling hot water, only a little bit at a time, and then we'll work more in. You can see the sugar starts to melt instantly, and we're just gonna go ahead and start mixing it. Working our oil and vanilla and water right into it. But if you do mess up and you add too much of the boiling water, you can add more sugar. That's why we have some extra here on hand. Now that I added more confectioner sugar and water, you can see the consistency is runny. This is the kind of glaze that most people think is perfect because it looks pretty perfect from here, but this is the one that will seep into your cake. So you need more confectioner sugar to stiffen it up. It should not be pourable. That is the secret. So this looks beautiful, but this is not what we want. So we're gonna add some more. I'm just working the spoon against the side of the bowl to get out any of the clumps of sugar. Or if you want, you can sift it beforehand. I just never do. I just kind of rub it on the side of the bowl to get out the clumps. But this is what we're looking for, this nice, thick, not pourable glaze. That's what we're talking about. Now we're gonna transfer this to a zip-top bag, and I like to use a rubber spatula so that we get every bit of the glaze because we wanna use all of it. Just scrape it off the spoon. And it still is pliable, even though it's so stiff, which is perfect. Wow, it's really nice and thick. We want all of it in this bag. So I've got my glaze here ready to go, and I'm just gonna cut a corner off the edge of the bag so that we can pipe it directly on the cake. You don't need a fancy tip because I'll show you, it will just glide down. And what you wanna do is gently squeeze and rotate the pan at the same time so you have even coverage throughout, like this. Now it looks really stiff, like it's not gonna guide down, but it will. Just keep going. Apply the same amount of pressure while you're going around the cake for the prettiest effect. If some spots have more, I bet you nobody will complain. And here we have another round up here. And this is not how it's gonna look. It won't just be sitting here on top of the cake. We're gonna help guide it down. That should be good. Now, at this point, we shake it and tap it a little bit. This cake plate is metal. Don't do it with a glass one or a ceramic one. If you have a glass or ceramic one and you need to tap it, transfer it to a plate first, where you can do that, and then you can transfer the cake. But you see how it's like nice and thick? Want to like tap it gently. And you see how it's falling all down the sides in that beautiful cascade. See that, how it glides down? Isn't that so beautiful? And then you have it in the center too. And at this point, before it's fully set, I like to decorate the top just to take it up another notch. Now, it depends on what your flavor is or what season it is or whatever you want, where your occasion is. That's how you decorate the top. or you could totally just leave it like this, but why not, right? So if you had like a cookies and cream, I would use some chopped up Oreos. This one is a honey bundt cake, and I figure pomegranates make sense, right? Plus they're so pretty. So you just kind of press them in ever so slightly, and they look like beautiful jewels. Okay, this is our final decorated cake, and do you see how the glaze remained nice and thick and white? It'll stay that way until it's really all eaten up. And do you see how the pomegranate added like a nice layer of just something extra special? And it gives you a hint of what's inside the cake. So again, if you had a cookies and cream cake, you can top it with chopped Oreos. If you had a salted caramel cake, you can top it with caramel chips, a lotus cake, crushed up lotus cookies, whatever it is. It just kind of gives like a hint to what's inside the cake, and it adds like a nice element that pleases the eye. It makes everyone a little bit more excited to eat it. For more tips and tricks, just like this one, go to Kosherdotcom.